The sad thing with this whole electricity tariff hike is that it's all about IGR. But what Tinubu is doing that is painful to the Nigerian masses that even Tinubu himself is not seeing, or maybe he sees it but just chooses to ignore it, is the fact that he is milking the middle class, milking the lower class without feeding them in return. And once that happens to any animal, that animal will die. Imagine that you have a ranch and you have cattle in there and you keep milking them, you keep milking them, you keep milking them, and you milk them dry without giving them food, sufficient food in return. What happens to those cows? They will all eventually die. That is what Tinubu is doing with this electricity tariff and all other IGRs that it is engaged in. Increase in the price of petrol is IGR. From the report of NNPC, we see that 57% of the revenue of NNPC is from selling petrol products to Nigerians, meaning that NNPC is making over almost 60% of its revenue from retailing refined petrol products to us. No wonder they are so interested in increasing the price. So that's IGR. They are milking us. What did they give to us in return? Nothing. They say palliatives, but what palliative? The same palliative that is not enough for the people, and people are eventually dying for those palliative. No wonder Nigerians are growing lean. With this action, he's wiping out the middle class that is supposed to be the engine room of economic development in Nigeria. Shall we complain and expect results to come? Shall we continue to complain and expect that things will change? Shall we continue to abuse the Tinubu administration and expect that things will be different, things will get better? Oh my God. No matter the complaint, it appears as though they are falling on deaf ears. So as Tinubu is milking us and milking us dry without feeding us in his ambitious revenue drive, as the fuel price hike is there, so you have cooking gas hike, diesel price hike. Okay, now, businesses are finding it hard to operate. But guess what is happening? Abuja Environmental Protection Board is serving notices of 650,000 naira on businesses to come and do assessment of their business, something they did not ask for. It is one tax or the other. You see these people that are standing on the road wearing red t-shirts. They claim some are for AMAC and some are from FCTA. What are they doing? They are looking for vehicles that are carrying loads inside and charging them 50,000, sometimes 100,000. What are they doing? Milking the population and milking them dry. For all the monies they collect, what do they give in return? Nothing. This is the evil side of IGR, according to Tinubu. It's all about milking the people without giving anything in return. I asked the question earlier, how long shall we continue to just complain and complain? We must, as a matter of urgency, look for solution. So where are the solutions? Sadly, I am one of those people praying for long life for Tinubu, at least up until 2027. Why am I praying for long life for Tinubu up until 2027? Because what's the alternative? If anything happens to Tinubu now, guess who takes over? Yes, you guessed right. Kashim Shettima. And if we think that things are worse now, I can't even imagine how things will be under a Kashim Shettima leadership or handling of Nigeria. So, I am praying. All those people that are standing behind Tinubu, that are always carrying bag, and it looks like it is steroids that are on it. All those things that you're doing to keep him alive and agile, please continue to do it. And I'm supporting you with my prayer. Let God let Tinubu to live up until 2027. But you see, after that 2027, or in that 2027, Tinubu must not come back in a second term. And this I say because we Nigerians must come together and make sure that Tinubu and his likes that have pushed Nigeria in this direction of consumption, in this direction of milking the people with electricity price tariff, milking the people with fuel price hike, milking the people with all manner of satanic IGR. All this must come to an end. And we can do it. Don't let anybody tell you that we cannot do it. We can do it. We, the people of Nigeria, are the real owners of Nigeria. And we have the numbers. All we need to do is to organize and use our head. And one of the things that will help us to do that organization is that we must all now come together and form a new political party. Click the link in the description to join, because we need you from wherever you are across Nigeria to form this new political party that is based clearly and purely on ideologies, where money politics will not have a place. That is the kind of party that we can ride on to force the National Assembly to do one thing: enact laws like the free food and social welfare law that will guarantee at least one free meal a day for the poorest of the poor Nigerians. All of them, not the gamble that we are experiencing and the corruption that we are experiencing under the Tinubu administration right now. Guaranteed free food for every single Nigerian. It is possible. We have a video dedicated to explaining this whole concept. If you're interested in it, you might just search it in this channel. But it is doable. We must set up this political party to pressure the National Assembly to pass this law. And if they fail, what happens? We will use this political party and use the structure that we have formed to make sure they are kicked out come 2027, from Tinubu down to the least of them. We need to organize. We need to come together, because the power to save Nigeria rests only with the people, and we must exercise it. If I ask you, why did Peter Obi lose the 2023 presidential election? What will your answer be? Will it be that there is no election, or there was no election, the election was a selection, or it was rigged? Would that be your answer? Or would it be that it was INEC rigged Peter Obi out? Or will it be that it was Tinubu, he bought over the system against Peter Obi? Or will it be that it was the judiciary, they did not rule correctly, or they collected money and they ruled against Peter Obi? What will your answer be? Whatever your answer, I want to announce to you that none of those answers are correct. The reason we need to look at this answer is so that we can strategize and plan correctly come 2027. And the reason, another reason also, is so that we can stop this narrative that some people are driving, that, oh, there's no need, votes, our votes do not count, there's no need to get involved, let's leave it for them. All of those narratives must be stopped. It's all a lie. Our involvement in 2023 yielded a whole lot of results. And so what they want to do, part of their strategy, is that they will discourage us so that we will not come together again even stronger in 2027. And that is why it is absolutely important that we answer this question: why did Peter Obi lose the presidential election of 2023? It is. So if I say that it was not INEC only deceived Peter Obi. INEC could not have stopped Peter Obi. If I say it is not APC or Tinubu could only have used the stocks to threaten and harass Peter Obi and probably also buy the system against him. He couldn't have stopped Peter Obi. Why is it not the judiciary? Well, the judiciary might have overlooked some technicalities and then ruled against Peter Obi, but they could not have stopped Peter Obi. So if these three categories of persons could not have stopped Peter Obi, why did Peter Obi lose? I will hazard you my guess. And when I finished with explaining it, I hope you would agree with me. Peter Obi lost the 2023 presidential election because of the ineptitude of Abure and the Labour Party. And in fact, if we are to extend it, the ineptitude of the Obidati campaign organization. That is all. Because you see, the heart of the 2023 presidential election was the polling unit. All we needed to do was target the polling unit. If Labour Party managed to get at least all the polling unit agents in all the polling units, and they all had their forms EC8A, and we were able to use those forms EC8A to tally the votes from the polling unit, and we took that tabulation to the collation centers. Number one, a Mahmood Yakubu would not have been able to push us aside, as we saw in the National Collation Center, when he was asking Labour Party collation agent at the presidential level to produce his own result, and the agent of Labour Party could not. He simply just hid behind Dino Melaye and they stormed out of that meeting. If we had the polling units results from EC8A and we have our own Labour Party or Obidati situation room collated result, we would have taken that to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court would have ruled in our favor. Because from antecedents, we have seen that the Supreme Court has always ruled that the polling unit results are sacrosanct. The forms EC8A are sacrosanct. And Peter Obi's Obidati campaign did not pursue this strategy. Labour Party under Abure did not pursue this strategy. We were busy getting carried away in the euphoria of activism instead of facing core strategy. This is the reason why I believe that none of the other three factors stopped Peter Obi. It was Abure's Labour Party and Abure's ineptitude and the Obidati's campaign ineptitude that was responsible for Peter Obi's failure to become president in 2023. We must tell ourselves the truth so that we can learn lessons and pick up ourselves and move forward with sense. In 2027, if we understand the reason why Peter Obi lost, then it will be possible for Peter Obi to win. Dear Peter Obi, I am the one that warned you against the 5 strategies of Tinubu in 2023, building up to the 2023 presidential election. I warned you about the 5 strategies, but you did not listen. And I gave you suggestions on how you would tackle them, but you did not pay attention. Your campaign organization also did not pay attention. But that's in the past now, because bygones are bygones. The elections have come and gone. You have gone to the tribunal. You have gone up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court has ruled against you. But we are still with you, and we are hopeful that in 2027, things will be different. And so, I have some suggestions for you so that things will go smoothly from now building up to the 2027 presidential election. What are these advice? You need to understand that there's a need for you to metamorphose, to grow, to transcend your current status and become like Nelson Mandela. You need to begin to build bridges. You need to begin to reach across the aisle. Yes, you are doing some part of it, but you are failing in some part also. You're doing some part right, which is reaching out to the Muslims during this Ramadan. That is a fantastic strategy. You didn't implement it building up to the 2023 presidential election, but you're doing it now, and I give you credit for that. But beyond that, you need to understand that while you are building bridges, you cannot allow your allies, your close allies, and even your fellow Igbos to begin to scatter those bridges for you. This is exactly what they do. Scatter bridges for you when they drive anti-Igbo sentiment. And that means you need to call people like Aisha Yusufu to order when she continuously drives this, her anti-Igbo sentiment. It is counterproductive. It will not augur well for your campaign in 2027. And furthermore, you must also stop being silent on issues such as these, so that people don't see you as consenting to these anti-Igbo sentiments. When they drive these sentiments, it makes other tribes feel like the Igbos are out to dominate them. And if you are silent, you are seen to buy into this narrative. And that is why it is dangerous for you. And of course, it is dangerous for Nigeria. We still believe in you. And that is why people like me are coming out to give you this advice. This is sound advice. Don't wave it away or push it away with a wave of the hand. Don't ignore it like you did the advice and the warnings and the suggestions I gave you in 2023. Take this advice in good faith and act on them. And I can promise you, 2027 will be a lot better than 2023. I don't understand why some people will complain and be asking questions why Nathaniel Bassey will go and call police, or that Mercy Chinwo went to call police for ordinary cruise. Seriously, ordinary cruise? There's a difference between cruise and defamation of character. You see the posts that those people made on social media. If it had stopped at, oh, this Pikin resemble Nathaniel Bassey, it would have not been an issue. Because even myself, when I saw the photograph, in myself, I said, this Pikin resemble Nathaniel Bassey. Now, coming out on social media to say it is not harmful. But going to make such an assertive statement like, nobody go tell me, say this Pikin, no be Nathaniel Bassey get am, or that this child is Nathaniel Bassey's child, let them go and do DNA. It has left the realm of cruise. It has entered into the realm of defamation of character. And for those of you asking why Nathaniel Bassey or Mercy Chinwo will call the police, for me, if they did not call the police, I would have been led to believe that that statement is true. And you know the effect that that would have on the husband of Mercy Chinwo. He may not say anything now, but anytime he looks at that child and remembers that that child looks like Nathaniel Bassey, and then he remembers that Mercy Chinwo and Nathaniel Bassey used to minister together, or that Mercy Chinwo used to go to Nathaniel Bassey's church, and he was not there when that visitation happened, suspicions will begin to creep into his mind. And you people, with these careless statements that you have made, would have sown seed of the destruction of a young couple's marriage. We should know that though we have freedom of speech and the social media is a platform that is open to all, we should understand that we cannot destroy people's reputation and indeed career with our statements. So, do I blame Nathaniel Bassey or Mercy Chinwo for calling the police? I do not. Think about it. If they didn't say anything and people came to assert that the statement is true, like some people are claiming, do you know that that will mean that many churches will no longer invite Nathaniel Bassey or will no longer invite Mercy Chinwo? Do you see that your actions could have led to the destruction of somebody's career? And that would mean that indirectly, all the people that depended on these two artists will also be made to suffer because of somebody's callous statement. Nigeria has laws. So if you have alleged, you now have to come out and prove. There is nothing wrong with these people going to police. In fact, if they have not gone, then it would have been a problem for them. It is you that should be careful the kind of things you say on social media. Seriously, Bobrisky is in a lot of trouble. A lot of trouble. Now, those of you who mocked Very Dark Man when he was invited by the police over the allegations he made, right, against the DIGs and all that. Those of you who mocked him and were laughing at him that he stayed in police cell for up to a week, you have another thing coming because you were defending Bobrisky against him. Now, Bobrisky has entered his own wahala. And his own is looking like it's even worse than that of Very Dark Man. Why am I saying that? From ordinary mutilation of Naira, that was maximum 6 months imprisonment or 7 million Naira or both. Ordinary mutilation of Naira, the charges have now grown or increased to what now? To money laundering of over 180 million naira. And in fact, you remember that VDM, Very Dark Man, did a post saying or suggesting or leading the EFCC in that direction. Whether it had something to do with it, I don't know. But a lot of things are piling up for Bobrisky right now. And do you know the funny thing? A lot more are going to add. You see this Same-Sex Marriage Prohibition Act, the Section 5, subsection 2 that he violated. People are putting up petition against Bobrisky, this time to the Nigerian police. So whether the police likes it or not, after the EFCC is done with Bobrisky, the Nigerian police must now also arrest Bobrisky for flouting the Same-Sex Marriage Prohibition Law, Section 5, subsection 2, publicly displaying same-sex affection. Bobrisky is going to be in a lot of trouble, and I hope his lawyers are ready. And all the monies that he's flaunting, I hope those monies will be able to save him. Because you see, if he is found guilty of violating the Same-Sex Marriage Prohibition Law, of course you know that Section 5, subsection 2 carries a jail term of 10 years. It is also always not good to push to support what is not good in the society. In America, you can say you are a cross-dresser or you are a transgender. Yes, in Nigeria, there is no law against transgender or against cross-dresser. But the truth still remains, there is no law that supports transgender. The laws of Nigeria can only recognize you as either a male or a female. Now that he is arrested in EFCC custody and eventually also in police custody, he must identify as one. And unless he has removed blockers and replaced it with Puna, he will have to choose to be a male, or the police will choose for him. That is our law. And when you now come out to begin to publicly display same-sex affection, you are endangering the lives of our future youth. Those of you who are supporting Bobrisky know the damage that you are doing to our society. And that's why we still call on you. Don't follow the example of Bobrisky and people like Bobrisky. Nigeria is still Nigeria. We still have laws against such things. You can go and do it in America, but not here. All this analysis that Kashim Afegbua is making, trying to intimidate Peter Obi to stop him from leaving Labour Party, all of them is equal to zero. In my opinion, it's a cheap blackmail attempt to stop Peter Obi from leaving the Labour Party, from starting a fresh political party, so that he will not come out stronger to defeat the APC and the PDP. That is my opinion in all of this. So I want to use this medium to advise Peter Obi, don't listen to anybody that tells you to remain in Labour Party. I gave you advice and warnings before and you ignored. This one, I want to beg you, Peter Obi, don't ignore it. Don't listen to anybody that advises you to remain in Labour Party. The rank and file of Labour Party, like I will always say, their crayfish don't bend. They are used to and accustomed to cash and carry politics. Money politics, they love it. Yes, replace Abure if you want, if you can, because the guy seems to be holding on tightly to Labour Party as it is now. Replace Abure if you can. But what about the rank and file? The state chairman that he has put in those places, the local government chairman, the ward chairman, what is going to happen to them? I know what I went through with my ward chairman in my own ward here. He did nothing to campaign for you, Peter Obi, in the 2023 presidential election. Everything that we did was the personal effort and contributions of obedience within my location, within my ward, that were not even linked to the Obidati campaign group. They were not linked to Labour Party. And that was what brought the victory that you are seeing for your presidency in Abuja today. So don't let anybody tell you that you should remain and build Labour Party. I like that you said that you were not called to build Labour Party, that you plan to build Nigeria. Yes, but don't forget, even as scary as that statement is to me, you must understand that you need to build a party. It just will not be Labour Party. Come out of that. Come and join us. Tell your people to click the link in the description below. Let us create a fresh political party that is based purely and clearly on ideologies. Ideologies that even the Labour Party NLC chairman was talking about. Things like free nomination form. If you're going to collect any money at all, not more than 50,000 naira for the highest office of president. And then you can cascade that down. And then ideologies like, oh, every member of the Labour Party can only be voted for if they have joined the party for at least 1 year. That way, you stop all those Tom, Dick, and Harry that run away from their political parties after they have lost their primaries from coming into the new party that we are going to form. And then number 3, it must be stated very clearly, our primaries will be direct primaries, and the register of members will be there for everybody to see and have access to when they want to run for the ticket of the party. When we have this kind of clearly written ideologies in a party that I think you should join us to create, what will happen is we will open the political field, the political atmosphere, and make it accessible to well-meaning Nigerians that have characters and attributes that resemble your own. Right now, the atmosphere, as the Labour Party has it right now, is for the highest bidder, is for the big fish, according to the terminologies that is always credited to Aburi. And that can never open the space for well-meaning Nigerians to come in. You are one person, Mr. Peter Obi, and you must understand that a tree can never make a forest. You need more people like you. You need to replicate Peter Obi in others across the 8,000 wards, across the 774 local government, across the 36 states and the FCT. You need to replicate, and the new or fresh political party will give you that opportunity to do it. You just see that like minds will begin to just come together. You need to do it so that you can put people like Kazim Afegbua to shame. You can put them to shame to say that, yes, you may not have built Labour Party, but you started a fresh political party from scratch and you built it to success. And then all this talk that you came into Labour Party and the Labour Party became the beautiful bride, it will no longer be that. It will be that you started a fresh political party within a space of 6 months. And now that political party will take over power come 2027. So don't listen to them. This is your time to start a fresh political party. You see, the problem of Nigeria is like HIV/AIDS. That's the problem of Nigeria. When you are treating symptoms for headache, symptoms for malaria rears its head. When you are treating symptoms for malaria, symptoms for fever rears its head. When you are treating symptoms of cough, symptoms of malaria or fever, symptoms of cough rears its head. And that is how different illnesses keep rearing their head, because the human immune system has been compromised. That is exactly what the problem of Nigeria is like. And we make the mistake of thinking that the problem of Nigeria is like one sickness of malaria or typhoid, that you can just take the medicine for it and that is the cure. It is not like that with Nigeria. And this wrong approach is why people think that the problem of Nigeria is corruption alone. Oh, solve corruption and Nigeria will be okay. That is not true, because corruption is just one of the symptoms of the problems of Nigeria. Some will come and say it is the constitution. Just change the constitution and everything will be fine. Well, maybe that will help. But if anything, if we are to go by what we saw with the Electoral Act of 2022, we'll find out that even if you had the best of constitution, with the people that we have right now, they will still mess it up. So constitution is just a symptom of the problem. Some others says, oh, it is leadership. Oh, if we can just get the leadership problem of Nigeria correctly, then Nigeria will be fine. Yes, it may be leadership, but leadership is just one of the symptoms. If you take the leadership in Nigeria and you bring in a fresh leader without them having to deal with other things, we will also get the same result. So when other people think it is, oh, we have to implement true federalism, all of these are symptoms. Oh, the problem of Nigeria is marginalization. The Igbos are marginalized. Some will come and say the Yorubas are marginalized. Oh, the Hausas and the Fulanis are marginalized. Even me, I will come and say that the Urobos are marginalized. But you see, all of these talk about marginalization and the solution being secession, it's all symptoms of the problem. The problem of Nigeria is that there is an elite group of people that have put a system in place that is similar to HIV/AIDS. This system is what looks like juju to people in Aso Rock when they say a president behaves normally before he gets into Aso Rock, and when he gets into Aso Rock, he begins to behave differently. And some people have come up to suggest that maybe there is some juju in Aso Rock. It is not juju. This system that is put in place by this elite group of external forces is what is responsible for this HIV/AIDS-like system that is ruining Nigeria. And unless we understand how this system works, we will just continue to treat one symptom after another, and then other symptoms will continue to rear their ugly heads. So how does this system work? The system works on two fronts. Yes, many of us agree that leadership is a problem in Nigeria. So this system that this elite group of people have put in place have to target two groups of people. They target the leadership and they target the followership. Yes, you heard me. It is not only leadership problem we have also followership problem. The both of them are components of this system that this elite group of people, I call them the Kolo Cabal. The elite group of people, the system that they have put in place to keep Nigeria in its perpetual state of poverty, hunger, and underdevelopment, stopping us from rapidly industrializing, stopping us from food self-sufficiency. That system has two major components, the leadership component and the followership component. What do they do with the leadership component? They make sure that they weaponize poverty to compromise our leaders and then compel them, push them into office, and force them to enact policies that will favor them, that will see that Nigerians suffer, but that the result or the resources of Nigeria continues to flow to them. That is what they do with our leaders. They have their structure in place, that system in place. That is why you will see that it is only leaders that have one comma somewhere that the system throws up through the political parties to hold elective offices. These leaders are then compromised. They are compelled, they are forced to do things that they hitherto would not like to do. Have you heard people say something like this about Tinubu? That, oh, this is not the Tinubu that we used to know. Oh, the Tinubu that we used to know is sharp, is intelligent, is brilliant. But they are shocked at the kind of decisions that Tinubu is taking now. I tell you the truth, and I kid you not. The system has taken over Tinubu, and that system is what we must tackle. And that's on the leadership side. Remember, they compromise the leader and corrupt the leader and then compel the leader to do their bidding. But they know that if they stop with just leadership, the people will now unite, the people will organize and push that leadership away, like they did in Iran, like they did in Egypt, like they did elsewhere during the Arab Spring. They know that. So what do? They have another system in place to keep the followership docile. They divide them and they distract them, all to make the followership docile. So how do they compromise the followership? How do they compromise the leadership? They compromise the leadership with corruption. How do they deal with the followership? They divide and distract the followership with religion, with ethnicity, with music. In fact, religion and ethnicity serve the purpose of division. They use it to divide. But you see, entertainment, music, sports, comedy, football, and the likes, even including education, all these are also tools to distract the people. You will see that during the 2023 presidential election, only 10%, is it up to 10%? 20 million people came out to vote. If you add all the votes of the three top leading candidates together, it's about 20 million. As against 220 million Nigerians. So you see that that's about 10% of Nigerians that came out to come and vote. What were the remaining 90% doing? They were distracted by these 7 factors that I'm talking about: music, movies, comedy, entertainment, football, leisure and recreation. They use it to distract us. And we must understand this if we are going to get Nigeria out of its current state of poverty into riches. So how do we solve this? Understanding the system like this, we must now engage the people power to push the corrupt politicians away. Because one of the underlying tools that they use to divide and distract the people, using all of these measures that I talked about, is the weaponization of poverty and hunger. When the people are hungry, they are easily divided along ethnic or religious lines, and they are easily distracted with football, music, movies, entertainment, and the likes. So what do we need to do? We need to create a fresh political party that will open up the space for well-meaning Nigerians to come in, and then we now use that structure to pressure the National Assembly to pass the Free Food and Social Welfare Bill into law. And once we have that, that can now guarantee free food to the poorest of the poor Nigerians. And once they know that their feeding is taken care of, then they can now begin to think and see the true qualities of our leaders. Unless we do this, we will bring 1,000 Peter Obi, we will bring 1,000 Sowore, we will bring 1,000 Al Mustafa. The people will not see their qualities because they are hungry. We can blame them all we want because we have food to eat. But when hunger beats you and you don't know where the next meal will come from, you will appreciate what these people go through. So long as poverty is weaponized against them, they won't be able to see clearly. But if we are able to use this new party that we want to form, right, to pressure the National Assembly to pass the Free Foods and Social Welfare Bill into law, then we can free the people from looking up to these corrupt politicians for feeding or for help as destiny helpers. We can now free them to begin to look to people that mean well for Nigeria to solve their problem. It is very, very important that we do this. And I want to use this opportunity to call upon you to join in this task. Click the link in the description and register from wherever you are. You don't have to give money. All we need is your name and your email and your phone number and your location so that we can use it to form the core, the foundation of the structure that we will use to retire these low-cost consumer leaders or politicians come 2027. Are you in or not? I hope you are in.